Hi there guys, today we're going to do a bit of commentary on Oksana's test. Oksana took her test in Crawley, West Sussex. Her test was at 8 o'clock in the morning and it's also raining. So it's quite a tricky test because of the time of day and also due to the weather. But let's see how she gets on. So we see here the examiner just gets himself all set up. And it looks like Oksana's going to be following the sat-nav at the beginning of the test. Oksana's been asked to start by doing a forwards bay park. She's being asked to pull up the parking bay, turn left, and then pull forwards into another bay further down the car park. Now it's safe to go, so off we go. Checking both ways to make sure it's all clear and it's safe and there's no one else pulling out of bays or no one else walking in the road. And we're going to be pulling to about on the left hand side as there's more spaces there. She does well to keep very slow and almost pulls the car, and also does very well to pull far to the right hand side once of course we've done our middle and right mirror, so this is to give ourselves more room to pull into the bay. However, she rushes the point of turn a bit and steers too early. You can see here we're starting to cut across the line on the left hand side. What she needs to do was take her time, pause for a second at the point of turn to double check it, and then realise when you steer later. The common mistake a lot of new drivers make is they rush into the point of turn and turn too early. This is what Oksana did. So she then got a driver fault here for forwards park, control. Now here I would have been advising Oksana to open her right hand door or dip her left hand mirror and check her position in the bay properly. If she would have opened her door on the right, she would have realised there's loads of room on the right, so it's not going to be on the left. So it would have been advisable to then check around to make sure it's safe and then back up in a straight line and then pull forwards back in to get yourself more properly in the bay. The examiner realises this and puts his iPad away, as you might see on the dashboard, and opens the door to check. She's touching the white line, but he gives her the benefit of the doubt and only gives a driver fault. Just be very, very careful because you shouldn't be ending up on the line. A lot of the times that could be given as a serious fault. As we like to say, we really shouldn't be ending up on the line, we should be in the bay. Thanks for that, says the examiner. I'd now like to reverse out of the bay and then we'll head out to the test centre. So Oksana picks up her second driver fault here. When she's looking to reverse back, her observations aren't sufficient. Now I can't of course see exactly what she was doing, but before we reverse back, we should be doing a full check round. So starting over the right hand shoulder into the blind spot, checking all the mirrors, and then looking over your left hand shoulder. And then continuing these all round observations as we're backing up. I suspect Oksana either didn't check her right hand shoulder, or the left hand blind spot direct out the rear window, or she's getting too fixated on looking in one place and reversing back, and not checking all round. So that's then given as a driver fault for forwards parking, observations. So off we go out of the test centre, keeping close to the left hand side and then turning right towards the exit, making sure we exit from the left hand gate. At the end of the road we're going to be turning left. So we've done our mirrors and signalled left, and Oksana does well here, just to slow to a crawl and pause for a moment to check it's safe. It is a 50-mile-an-hour road, so we can't be rushing observations. We should be checking at least twice to make sure it's definitely safe, we've not misjudged anything. And once you pulled out, she does well to build a decent amount of speed. Also making sure we check that mirror after we pulled out, in case someone's coming up fast behind us. At the roundabout, we're following the road ahead. Now here, we should really be using the left-hand lane for going ahead, as it's not marked as left only. I suspect Oksana's got worried about the puddle, but we don't need to avoid that puddle. It's very, very shallow. We can tell it's shallow as we can still clearly see the curb there. By avoiding it, the risk is when you enter the roundabout, there might be someone on the left-hand lane, and when you exit and you check your mirrors to exit, there's going to be a car right next to you. Not impossible to deal with, but it's going to make your life more challenging than it needs to be. A driver fault is given for positioning normal driving. We should be in the left-hand lane. At the next roundabout, we're following the road ahead, the second exit. So we're going to be using the middle lane here, as the left lane is left only. It's got 3 lanes this roundabout, So that means it's going to be very, very tight. So checking mirrors and slowing our speed dramatically. Checking to the right to see if it's safe. There's quite a lot of traffic coming round. Just wait our time and be patient. And when you pull out, you need to keep to the left-hand lane. So check the left mirror and keep in that lane. Keep very slow, barely touch the gas. And come off in the left-hand lane. We're going towards Horsham here. It's going to be the second exit. So we're going to keep in this lane as the road signs confirm this is the lane for Horsham. So the lights are changing ahead, so checking mirrors and reducing our speed. The idea normally is to reduce speed early enough so we might not need to stop. Oksana does well here, as our speed is nice and smooth. Waiting patiently for the light to change. And there it goes. Have a little check to the right, make sure no one's jumping the red light. Then keep to the left-hand lane. More lights coming up. We can see the signs warning us of this. The road markings confirm this is the lane for Horsham, so we're in the correct lane. Again, checking mirrors and reducing our speed early to the red light. Now, we're in the left-hand lane of the lights, of course. So when we exit the roundabout, where should we be? Left-hand lane. So when we exit, Oksana gets confused and actually drifts and comes off in the right-hand lane. She doesn't check our mirrors at all. She doesn't signal. So this is given as a serious fault for use of mirrors change direction. Oksana either needs to check our mirrors and signal right to move over there, or ideally keep in the left-hand lane. At the roundabout, we're turning right. So Oksana this time does check our mirrors and signals right to move when it's safe to. She then slows down well, scans to the right, sees it's safe, and then off we go. As we're coming round, we need to now start checking our middle and left mirror, signal left, and if it's safe to, move to the left-hand lane to exit. As you come off the roundabout, look for your road signs. There's a speed limit change to 30. And Oksana does very well here to keep within the speed limit, as it is difficult to do so because it's downhill and it's a long straight road. It's something we've been working on a lot, of being able to control her speed and not let the car run away from her. But she did very well here to keep within the speed limit. It would catch many people out. Now we've got hazard coming up soon here. We can see the flashing orange beacons. That's going to be some sort of road maintenance vehicle. So we're going to be checking our mirrors and coming off the gas and slowing, being prepared to give way if there's not room to go through. So looking safe, so mirrors and steering round. No need to signal, it's obvious you're going to steer around them. And if you signal right, it's going to look like you're turning right into a side road. So it's just going to confuse other drivers rather than help them. Coming up to a roundabout soon, and we're going to be following the road ahead, second exit. We know the roundabout's coming up, as we can see the traffic island, the cone in the centre of the road. We can also see the road sign on the left-hand side. So mirrors and reducing our speed. Scanning to the right to see if it's safe to keep going. And it is, so changing down gears and keep to the left-hand lane. Keep tight to that curb on the left there. Mirrors and signals to exit. Easing off the gas a bit here because it's quite tight. And then checking mirrors, and off we go down the road, changing up to third gear. So looking ahead for any hazards and any signs. Junction to the left has got a car coming, but they're slow, so they're fine. More traffic islands here. Roundabout. So at the roundabout, we're going to be going ahead. So slowing, being ready to stop for traffic on the right. It's safe to go, so we've changed down gears, and off we go. Got some speed bumps here. So keeping our speed somewhere between 20 miles, somewhere around 20 miles an hour or so to seem appropriate for these bumps. And then we've got another roundabout coming up. No traffic islands for this one, so you need to spot the road sign. There's a blue sign on the left-hand side and also the road markings. There's no one oncoming to give way to, so off we go. Keeping it nice and slow because it's very tight. Good speed there, Oksana. The examiner now asks Oksana to pull up on the left in a safe place. So we're checking our mirrors. There's no one behind to signal to, no one ahead, so we don't technically need to signal, but you can always do it if you're not sure. And this is an okay spot here. We're a little bit close to the junction on the right hand side, if you can see that in the rear view mirror. but no fault is given. The main good thing is Oksana didn't stop at the bus stop. So we've checked mirrors, checked our blind spot, signalled, and off we go again. The examiner now asks Oksana to take the next road on the left. So mirrors and signal left. Don't get frustrated by the car overtaken or flustered by that. They're only doing that because we're signalling left and slowing. They shouldn't really do it, but they did, and we can't control that. We don't want to get flustered by that. So it's quite tight on this road and we can't see around the corners. So keeping it slow, being ready to stop if like a large vehicle comes around the corner, or maybe there's someone crossing the road, or maybe children in the road, maybe someone running around to cross the road in the rain. Keep it slow on this road, be ready to stop any moment. The examiner asks Oksana to pull up on the left just before the parked vehicle. Get quite close to it, but give yourself enough room to pull away. That's great about there, says the examiner. So Oksana secures the car. Thanks for that, says the examiner. Please drive on when you're ready. So we let the other driving school car go past. Then we're going to check our mirrors to see if it's safe. There's another car coming, so we'll wait for them to go. And did you see how the car behind stopped for us? This is where Oksana got our next driver fault for signals timed. We need to be careful of when we put our signals on. If we check our mirrors and see there's traffic from behind us, don't just signal, because that's going to scare them. Check your mirrors effectively. If there's something behind you, let them go. And only signal right when it's actually safe to go. The only time you might signal when there's traffic from behind you is either if they're really far away that it's safe to go without slowing them down, or it's so busy you're just going to be sat there all day long to let all the traffic behind go round you. But in this situation it wasn't needed. So fault given for signals timed. Let the traffic go, then signal right, not to confuse and panic them. So at the end of the road, we're going to be turning left. So make sure we wait to pass this side road, and then mirrors and signal now, so there's no confusion of turning down that side road. It's quite hard to see here, so we're going to be slowing and planning to stop, keeping near the curb and into gear 1. Good speed there, Oksana. We'll let the pedestrian cross, good idea, because they weren't looking very well. Nicely dealt with and nicely observed. It's now looking safe to go. We've got the school sign here, max 20 when lights show, and the lights are showing. There's a roundabout, it's clear to the right, so off we go. Now when the lights are showing, it's not a legally enforceable speed limit. You need to assess if it's appropriate or not to do the 20. At the moment, it's a bit debatable. 20 is probably fine here because all the bumps, but if there weren't bumps here, 20 would be quite slow because there are no school children around at the moment. So more bollards here, more traffic islands, so we're going to be following the road ahead. It's looking safe, steer round the roundabout, and off we go. The examiner now asks Oksana to pull up on the left in a safe place. So mirrors checked. Signal if you want to, but then technically here there's not a need to, there's no one around, but no harm in doing it. And then secure the car. Thanks for that, says the examiner. Please drive on when you're ready. Now really important to check the blind spot here, because we are stopped opposite a junction. Again, we shouldn't ideally be stopped here, but because it's a very quiet road, the examiner gives no fault. So mirrors and blind spot, signal if you want to, if you feel there's a need to, and off you go. It's quite narrow here, so keeping it slow in case a vehicle comes, such as this one here. Just slowing our speed a touch, and there is room for 2, so we're fine. But if that's a bus coming, we need to slow a bit more and maybe even pull in. So at the roundabout, we're going to be turning right, the third exit. So mirrors and signal right. And scanning to the right, seeing if it's safe. Looks safe, so changing down gears. And off we go. Keep near the inside of the roundabout. So we're coming round. Mirrors and signal left. If it's safe to, we're going to exit the roundabout. If it's not safe, just keep going round the roundabout, no problem. At the roundabout, we're following the road ahead, second exit. Notice the speed limit changed to 40, so the traffic might be coming a bit faster on this road. Not necessarily at 40, but just faster in general. left-hand lane as it's not marked as left only. It's a bit busier here, so we'll just wait patiently for our gap. Now it's safe to go. So off we go. Nice patience there, Oksana, and good positioning here to keep tight in the left-hand lane. We don't want to cut up anyone in the right-hand lane next to us. Mirrors and signal to exit, and the speed limit is now 30. So always think, new road, new speed. Looking far down the road for any hazards. As you can see, there are buses on this road. So it is a bus route. You might have buses stopped around the corner. Looking all good at the moment though. No one at the crossing that's going to walk out in front of us. But if they were there, you do have priority. Just make sure you've got eye contact with the pedestrian. And if you've got eye contact and they're staying there, then you keep going. Another road maintenance vehicle here. So mirrors and slowing. Seeing if it's safe to go round them, which it is. Being aware of the vehicle on the left in case they move off or they sort of open their door. Same here with the vehicle on the left. Not wanting to reduce our speed though, because they are quite a good distance from them, but just being aware of them. Like the vehicle on the left here, just in case they pull out, but they hold stopped, so that's fine. Some more traffic islands here. So again, watching for any pedestrians that might be running across the road in the rain, but none there. Now this roundabout we're taking a third exit, but it's a bit debatable if it's a right or straight. Doesn't really matter how you do it because it is a bit debatable, as long as you stay in your lane. So Oksana chooses the left-hand lane and chooses not to signal, which is the correct thing to do. So as long as we keep in this left-hand lane, and then there's exit 1, there's exit 2, and here's the third exit. So mirrors and signal to exit, and then that's fine. You could have also used the right-hand lane with a right signal, no problem. Because like I say, that third exit, it's a bit debatable if there's an ahead or a right. So either lane is fine, as long as you keep in that lane and you signal correctly. Now on approach to the roundabout, you might have noticed another sign saying max 20 when lights show, and the lights were showing. This is again due to the time of day, that there's going to be more school children around. But the signs never tell you when the 20 ends. That's again because it's advisory. It's not a compulsory 20. You need to assess the situation and do the appropriate speed. Oksana's speed here is good in about 25. And we're going to be checking mirrors and slowing for the roundabout here. Being ready to give way. But no one's turning right, so no one to give way to. And again, it's like I said, the speed is good for these bumps. These are just speed cushions, the ones in the centre of your lane. If you're positioned correctly, you'll barely feel them. So somewhere between 25 and 30 is perfect, so good speed choice here, Oksana. At the roundabout, we're turning left, first exit. Checking mirrors and slowing in case the oncoming vehicle wants to turn across our path. They are, and we need to give way to them. Seeing what the second one's doing, they're fine, they're further enough away not to affect us. Now here we've got some proper bumps, some full length bumps. So again for these bumps, some were between 20 to 25 miles an hour. So again, good speed choice here, Oksana. I'm just looking far ahead for any hazards. Again, any vehicles maybe pulling out, any people opening doors, anyone running across the road. All the reason why it's a 30 mile an hour road. You've even got the bus stop on the left here, so there could have been a bus there that's going to pull out. If they do indicate to pull out, if it's safe to, you should give way to the bus. The examiner now asks Oksana to pull up on the left, somewhere near the silver car. Don't worry if you're near the driveways, don't worry if you're near any side roads. So Oksana secures the car. Thanks for that, says the examiner. Please drive on when you're ready. Now, this is a time when we might choose to signal to pull away, even if there's traffic behind us, because it's so busy. If we don't show intention to pull away, we'll be sat here all day long. So Oksana does well to work that out. She firstly waits to see if it's going to quieten down, but it doesn't. Oksana now decides she's going to have to signal to show her intention to move, otherwise we've been spending the whole test sat at the side of the road here. So, good decision, get that signal on, see if the car behind responds and lets you go, and if they do, then mirrors and blind spot, final blind spot check, and off you go. We can then see another mini roundabout coming up. Again, we can tell it's coming up because of the traffic islands and the warning sign on the left. So we're going to be slowing, be ready to stop for any traffic coming from the right. It's looking safe, so off we go. Again, another traffic island here, so it could be another mini roundabout. This time it's not because there's no road signs and no road markings for the mini roundabout. But again, when you see those traffic islands, always be ready, it might be a roundabout. Don't just assume it's going to be clear and you can keep going. Got the pedestrian crossing here, so check your mirrors and off the gas a bit. Anyone near the crossing? No. If there was someone near the crossing, the light could change, so we need to be more ready to stop. No one pulling out in front of us here. No parked vehicles looking to move here. Just keeping on all these things. Another traffic island here, just checking mirrors. Is it a roundabout? Not this time. Again, no signs or no road markings. So you can see the vehicles in front are braking. So checking mirrors. Again, it's another traffic island. Is it a roundabout this time? Yes, it is. Look at the signs. We're going to be following the road ahead. Is there any oncoming traffic? No, there's no oncoming traffic, so we can just keep it going. At the traffic lights, we're going to be turning right. Wait till you pass the side road on the right. Now mirrors and signals, not to cause any confusion. Keeping in the right hand lane. You can choose to keep your signal on here if you want. It's not going to cause any confusion. But it's not a problem if you cancel it, because it is a right-only lane, and there's no one that's going to benefit. Notice the speed limit is going to 50 miles per hour. Good distance here though from the vehicle in front, ideally wanting to see tyres and tarmac. So just in case the vehicle in front stalls, or stops, or rolls back, you've got a bit of time to do something about it, or potentially time to steer around it if they break down. So off we go, committing to the light now, checking both ways for any traffic that might be jumping the red light. Particularly emergency vehicles are very common when the weather is wet. People rush around in the rain too much and get into collisions, and then that makes there be more emergency vehicles on the road that are going to jump those red lights. You can see brake lights ahead, there's a lot of traffic. We're going to be turning right soon, so we need to get in the right hand lane now due to how heavy the traffic is. So mirrors and signal right to see if it's safe to go over. Is it safe? Yep, it's looking safe, so round we go. And then cancel that signal, and then we're just going to have to bide our time now in the traffic. This is the problem with having a test early in the morning. You will be stuck in traffic, or more likely be stuck in traffic. And it is going to mean the next junction will be that bit busier due to the level of traffic trying to enter the roundabout. But just stay calm. You can even here choose to have a little chat to the examiner, just to kind of ease your nerves and ease the tension of just silence when you're sat in a traffic queue. Now we're front of the queue, so keep focused and look for your gaps. This is what we've been working on, Oksana, of doing roundabouts when they're very busy like this. So we're just looking for any gaps, any vehicles that can be exiting the roundabout, that means we can then go. At the moment they're all coming round. So any gaps coming up here, just keep focused, keep looking for those gaps, be ready to get your feet sorted out and get going. Now, did you notice a fault there? When Oksana pulls away, she pulls away a bit slowly, and a vehicle coming round the roundabout has to slow a bit for her. You might see that in the rear view mirror, in the rear camera. I think the reason Oksana pulled away a bit slowly is because you might have noticed the van in the left-hand lane suddenly put a right signal on for some reason. They didn't even go round to the right, because sometimes they do that there. They shouldn't do, but they put it on, and that was obviously quite off-putting for Oksana to be able to accelerate, thinking that van might have cut in front of her. So the examiner realises this, it gives her the benefit of the doubt, and gives a driver fault for junctions, observations, as we slow down a car a bit as we enter the roundabout. Again, good distance here from the vehicle in front, just in case they pull forward and have to stop suddenly, maybe for that cyclist. At least we've got plenty of time to stop, and we're not going to hit that vehicle in front. So we can see a roundabout coming up. We're going to be following the road ahead, the second exit. So it's not marked as left only, so we can use the left-hand lane for going ahead. So we're going to be scanning to the right. We're also looking ahead in case the vehicles in front stop. We've also got this pedestrian on the left-hand side. They do look towards us, and they are slow. But Oksana slows a bit too much and almost stops like she's trying to give way to them, like she thinks they're going to walk out in front of us. But they weren't going to walk out in front of us. They were looking towards us. They are walking slowly. So that's a very low risk hazard. Due to being a bit hesitant there, Oksana gets a driver fault for undue hesitation. We didn't need to slow that much for the pedestrian. They were fine. We keep an eye on them and just keep going. After Oksana realised the pedestrian was fine, she didn't need to give way to them, did you notice the car struggled to pull away? So this is given as a fault for move off control. Either Oksana was in the wrong gear, she forgot to change down gears due to the panic with the pedestrian, or she rushed her clutch. So a fault given for move off control. At the roundabout, we're following the road ahead, second exit. It's quite hard to see to the right here, so it's coming quite slowly into this roundabout, and it's now looking safe. So keep into the left-hand lane, and then mirrors and signal after we pass the first exit. And as you come off the roundabout, look for speed limit changes. The speed limit is now 50 miles per hour. There's quite a lot of water on the road here, so expect puddles. There's a bit of a puddle here. We clip it slightly, but not a major issue, because it's not too deep, the puddle, and we only clipped it slightly. If that was a much bigger puddle, we need to be ready to brake a bit, and then consider moving lanes, if and when it's safe to. At the roundabout, we're turning left, the first exit. So mirrors and signal left, and starting to slow and then scan the roundabout to see if it's safe or not to go. There's a few cars coming around at the moment, possibly after this white one. No, I think there's one more coming. And now it's safe, so off we go. New road, new speed. National speed limit, 70 miles per hour on a dual carriageway. Now Oksana's also given a driver fault for progress appropriate speed. And it's hard to tell for sure, but I reckon it's probably here, because progress appropriate speed means driving too slowly for the conditions. And this is a national speed limit road, so it's 70 miles per hour, and we're being overtaken. That doesn't guarantee you're driving too slowly. They could be driving too fast, but it does feel like we're going a bit slow. The speedometer on the dash camera says 50, and we are getting overtaken by a few drivers, so it does feel a bit slow here. I appreciate the road's wet, but it's straight and clear, and the bend's not very sharp at all. So 50 is a bit too slow. We're not going to skid. You'll see how the other drivers aren't skidding. So on a nice open, clear road like this, 60 to 70 miles an hour would be fine. The examiner now says to Oksana, we have two roundabouts coming up. They're very close to each other. The first roundabout, we're going to follow the road ahead. At the second, we're going to turn right. Now, if the examiner gives an instruction like that, it's a hint that if you know the area well enough, you might choose to use the right-hand lane. As in this roundabout, you can use the right-hand lane to go ahead, as there are two lanes on the exit. So you can approach the roundabout in the right hand lane and exit directly into the right hand lane, ready to do the second roundabout that's very close. But Oksana chooses to use the left hand lane, which is fine, no massive issue. So we're now checking to the right, seeing if it's safe to go, changing down our gears and then keeping in lane. Now as soon as we exit, we need to remember we're turning right at the next roundabout. So we need to be moving to the right hand lane straight away. Of course not rushing it, we just need to check it's safe. But we needed to be checking mirrors and signalling as soon as we came off that first roundabout. Oksana doesn't do that, and she just stays in this lane, which then becomes the middle lane. This is then going to cause her a problem in a moment. As you'll see by the markings, she's in the lane for Crawley A23 and M23. As we enter the roundabout, Oksana does actually quite well to stay in the lane. Because a lot of drivers, as they enter, they stay in the middle, which is actually wrong. You need to keep to the left hand like Oksana does here. The only problem is this lane is now going only to the M23. And we did practice going the wrong way, which is fine, but this is the exception. Because it's a motorway. If that is anything but a motorway, just go down that way. And I'm sure Oksana would have done that because we practiced that. But because it's a motorway, she can't do that, unfortunately. So there, it's given us a serious fault for turning right. We need to be in the right hand lane for turning right, not the middle lane. Now, the only way Oksana could have really dealt that situation, apart from of course getting in the right hand lane and approach to the roundabout, was use the middle lane and turn left first exit for Crawley A23, or possibly she might have got away with it if when she got towards the motorway exit, if she slowed a bit, then checked her middle and right mirror, signalled right, did a shoulder check, and then went round. And assuming there was nothing there and she got lucky and there was nothing there. But because those checks didn't happen, it was then given as a serious fault for junctions turning right. So a bit of an unfortunate one, because it's really hard to get out of that situation where you're in that middle lane there. Anything else, I'm sure she would have just gone a different way and gone the wrong way, because we did practice that. But that is the exception where you can't go the wrong way, and then you've got yourself a very, very awkward situation to deal with. So it just does unfortunately show the importance of getting in the correct lane and approach to the roundabout. If not, you could quite easily find yourself in a very, very awkward and dangerous situation, which is why she's given a serious fault. We're now heading back to the test centre, so it's going to be taking the second road on the right. The first one just comes up just here. The second one is where the car's pulling out from. So we're checking mirrors and signalling right. Keep your composure. Be looking for any oncoming traffic, because they will come in at high speed. Being ready to stop if someone appears. And turning in through the left-hand gate. And then Oksana's been asked just to drive forwards into the bay between the cones. So checking both ways for any traffic coming. And then pulling forwards into the bay and coming to a stop before we reach the curb. Securing the car, keep your composure. Only when you switch the engine off can you then switch off your brain. We've now switched the engine off and secured the car. We can now switch our brain off and wait for the examiner's feedback, which is in this case, unfortunately, a fail with 2 serious faults. You'll see on the test result, there was also a driver fault for controls gears I didn't mention. That's because I couldn't quite work out where it was. It could have possibly been when she had the problem with the pedestrian that she thought was going to cross. Maybe that's given us a fault for gears. And then kind of the fault for move off control was for a different situation that I couldn't work out clearly from the video. But I hope this helped, and thanks for watching, and bye for now.